Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking and reviewing the Danger Room. And what I mean is reviewing, like, I am done, I guess, for what I'm going to do. I want to talk about it with you guys, kind of go over my thoughts about what it is. And no, I'm not here to shit on it. I think some people are maybe expecting that I'm coming here to rant, to talk about it, but I'm actually not. I do have some positive things to say about it. There are some things that need improvement. There are things that need to be fixed, and I hope the next time it comes around that they'll actually take community feedback on this. Unlike Battle World, where they kind of they floundered, for lack of better words, and they didn't really take community feedback on board. I think there's something here, and I hope that with some improvements, that this will return later a lot better. There's not a lot of reason, in my opinion, to run this right now over and over and over again. We're going to talk about that. I think otherwise, if you spent any more than a couple of hours on this, you've probably wasted your time. But that's just me, and we'll go over that. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. Okay, so why do the Danger Room at all? And that's largely to do with this milestone here, which, I'm recording this on Friday. I'm actually recording this a day before the video is going to go out because I had another sponsor video that had to take up my slot on Friday. So I was not able to put this one out for Friday. So by the time you're looking at this, this is probably going to be clear, I would hope, and that we all have Victoria Hand unlocked. And this would be the only reason, one of the main reasons anyways, that you would have needed to run the Danger Room. Now, we'll talk about the actual event milestones because I have already cleared this after 2 runs. Where did it go? It's over here. So let's enter it. Now, I just want to start with the rewards. I'll talk about what I did. So there were a bunch of milestones. There's 10 milestones, of which at the very end you would get 12 armory, 20 ore fragments, which is quite valuable. But these XLs, for those who don't know, these XLs are only important for the global milestone, and that is it. It does not do anything else. That is it. Okay? As far as I'm aware, it doesn't go towards the main mile, or right, the Odin one. I don't think it's in here. No. And it's not in the, actually, it is in the command center for the week, I believe. Or is it in this one here? Harbinger's week 3, right? So you're going to get some points in here, and that'll get you closer towards the bottom, but I don't think that this one at the very bottom here is free to play available. But anyways, you'll get some more stuff over here. But other than that, it's not for any major events anyways. So to go back to the Danger Room, and again, the rewards were good for if you did the milestones, like I guess, right? The 12 armory, 20 orbs were probably the best here, but there's also a 3 diamond Taskmaster at milestone 9, and then a bunch of purple ions, which is fine. And some purple ISO 8 orbs, that's fine. And this was good, actually. This was, how many was this? 100, is that 100? 100 ability orbs, I think, which is like 300 T4s. So this one is pretty good, which required 40,000 points. Now, it was 10,000 per milestone, I believe, with 100,000 here. I have a high score of 114,000. Now, how did I get there? Also, there is a ranking, but again, it's primarily fluff. The XLs are pointless. It's just frames. So if you want to compete in that, actually everyone's going to get at least this frame here if you do it once, right? How did I get there to 114,000? Well, I cleared a Danger Room run at D6 twice, and that was it. It seems now when you start the run, I'm not gonna really play it, but my best run score was 52,100. Now, what happens is when you get to the very end, there's like 20 like rooms or like events, things like that. And then once you get to the very end, you get a giant, like, depending on the difficulty that you ran, you get that times 10,000. So I believe that if you're running like D5, you'll get 50,000. If you're running D6, you'll get 60,000. Maybe I ran D5, I can't remember now. But the biggest problem with it is that it's an additive score. Now, I don't know if this was, I don't think that this was intended, because milestone 10 was 100,000. And how you get 100,000 typically is by running difficulty 10. There is absolutely no reason now that I need to run any of these other difficulties, because what happened, and I don't know if this is still happening as of recording this video, but at least in the first day or so, it was, that the scores were just adding up. Now, my understanding was the original intent of the Danger Room was that it was like a Scourge or a Trial. So you would do your top run, basically. You would do your D10 run, and this would be your best score. And that's the one that would stay, right? It was not supposed to, as far as I'm aware, it was not supposed to be an additive score where you could do difficulty 2 or 1 over and over and over again, and it kept adding up. I'm going to tell you that I can't remember if I did D5 or D6 now, but I did it twice before I went to bed when it first came out. I spent 2 hours doing this. Actually, I spent 2 hours smashing my head on some of these higher difficulties, like 8 and 9, and that was not working out very well. So I went down, and eventually went down to 5 or 6. And I guess I cleared this twice. And then both of those finished scores added up to my rewards to get to milestone 10. And then now, because after the milestones, the only thing left over is the rankings, I don't need to run this anymore. So you can run it for fun, I guess. And I guess fun is variable, depending on if you find this fun or not. And I think that wasn't intended. So there's a few problems here just right at the get-go. Leaderboard's kind of messed up because of this additive score thing. It's a huge issue. And, you know, it's broken, I suppose. Good thing it's not really rewarding anything super valuable, so it doesn't really matter. But if you do want to get to milestone 10, just run like D3 or D2, you know, a bunch of times, and you'll eventually get the points, hopefully, as long as it's not fixed by this point. So that's the biggest problem with this, I think. But there is some fun to be had, right? And how you get the this is not meant to be a guide video by any means, but these X tokens, these gold tokens, can only be received by doing the elite missions. So I'm just going to show you just right off the bat. Like I'm going to go like super low level. I'm going to do a D5 again, I guess here. And then I have 38. This is what I've accumulated, I guess, from all my previous runs that I screwed up with. So now I can do like I can spend 30 and get 10% speed. And then I can get 10% stats. So then I start the run, right? And the only problem that I have, and I always start with Daredevil Modern and Hitmonkey, I think. But I can also do it with Punisher. I've done it with Punisher as well. Now, Vigilantes are the best characters to run in the Danger Room. They're just the best. I have tried to run it with Starjammers. I've tried to run it with Thunderbolts, and it just did not work. So the best results that you're going to get are going to be, and for some fucking reason, there's Iron Patriot just chucked in there. I think because there's some mods for him or something. And Cyclops and Star-Lord, who are absolute trash. My experience is that the Vigilantes are the best characters, just hands down. I suppose you would need you need all 5 of them to have the text active though, and if you have the raid text active like that, you need all 5 of them. It's not like the other modes where like it's independent of that. So you could replace Elektra then with, I don't know, Ghost or Taskmaster or something like that. Ghost actually has some value there because of the counterattack, I think. But other than that, I would just run as many of these characters as possible. Now my biggest issue is you can see these are my characters, right? In the shop. So the Danger Room does use your characters from the roster. But you do get these tokens here where you can recruit rental characters. But the problem is that they're just so weak. So weak. Like 400k, 350k for some of the characters, right? 400k. And that's vastly different. I'm not entirely sure if you can even clear it with the rental characters. And I think that was the intent. Because I've tried some of the other difficulties and they were not strong enough to survive these levels. And the intent, I thought, was that the rental characters would be for newer players or players who are not as high level as us who, you know, need to borrow these characters. Because this is pretty normal in game modes like this in other games where you... But normally it's just completely like this, right? Like, it's completely like this. You don't have to wait. You don't use your main characters. You just only use the rental characters. That's how I've seen it in other games. But anyways, for the purposes of this, you know, I'm going to go and take a Daredevil Modern. Actually, just going to take Punisher. So I'm going to use those 2 characters, you know, and then you go through a level. I just want to get to the point where we do an elite mission. And all of the... I don't know how randomized this really is. I think I played this enough, like 3 or 4 runs now, where I've seen some of similar node layouts. So I think that the actual nodes themselves do have, like they're the same. You just might encounter them in a different spot, maybe in the beginning, in the middle, or the end, something like that. Right? I don't think this is entirely procedurally generated. How many different nodes there are, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if it's in the JSON, honestly, if it shows the different types of nodes that are there. I haven't checked lately. As far as this stuff, like I actually think this is pretty fun, right? Some of them are more OP than others. There's this one where like it gives you the enemies get on spawn bleed based on how many players there are, player allies there are. That one's insane and the most OP, and that's how you're probably going to clear a run, honestly. Some of these are pretty good though. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then you can see at the top that it's like 2 out of 20. And then we're going into 3 out of 20, right? So there's a total of like 20 different events. It's not 20 different rooms to attack. Usually you probably have about 10 of them. About 10 of them are battles. I didn't mean to do that. But anyways. So there we go. There's that one. Sorry, I'm still a bit, maybe telling my voice that I'm still a bit under the weather. Still sniffling a little bit actually as well. And then we claim the next one. We get another buff. In this case, I'm going to get 3 counters. And then now you can see the care package or another enemy, but you want to get more characters, right? You need to get more characters. So, oh, there we go. Silver Sable. Super helpful. You could also get some heal packs, but I'm going to go jump into the Elite Combat. And this is how you're going to get those gold tokens. And now I have 3 characters. I need some Hitmonkey. Hitmonkey from the energy. So sometimes it's better just to start with Hitmonkey. I like, if you're farming early runs, I do prefer just kind of using a Punisher. So again, this is a pretty low level difficulty, so it shouldn't be that hard, I would think. Like, they're barely scratching me. But it does actually ramp up very quickly, which I did notice. So that's the thing as well. Depending on what difficulty you're running, like some of these missions, especially towards by about like 10 out of 20, really ramp up. So you can see that I got 3 of these gold tokens, which are permanent, at least for the next 2 weeks or whatever. And then we get some more. I'm going to get, when attacked with the target ability does not have an ability block. Yeah, we're going to do the thing. Here's the thing. We're going to go for another care package to get another character or try. Nope, it was a buff. Enemies cannot gain speed bar from abilities. That's kind of nice, I think. Then we're going to go into another Elite Combat, and they're getting a bit tougher. And so this is kind of how you do it, right? Ideally, you just want to stack up as many Vigilante characters as you can, at least as you can find. I'm going to try and one-shot them here just to get through this so we can, go a bit further so I can, talk about it a little bit more. If I had Hitmonkey, I'd probably be getting more energy. Actually, no, I wouldn't be getting my energy for that unless I had the raid stuff activated, which I do not have. This one's the most OP shit ever. So if you're struggling with Danger Room, get Entry Wound. Just run it until you get Entry Wound. This is literally the best ever in the game. We got a Hitmonkey, so now we're 4 members. We're gonna move on. We're gonna do the Elite Combat, and then we're gonna put a Hitmonkey in there. So now we have 4 to 5. Now we don't necessarily need Electra because I don't have the raid mod activated. You can see, boom, spawn in. There's 4 bleeds just to start. So even if they take a turn, it's gonna be OP as shit, and they're probably all just gonna drop dead. Because that's what I found out happened on the higher difficulties for sure. Is that the bleed damage is very, very high, and they just all drop dead. So one of my suggestions would be to keep running this until you get Entry Wound, because that's just so OP. And we'll do like one more. I don't want to do too much here because, again, it's not really a guide, but I feel like you can get the same one twice. I feel like that happens. The Carnage Boon one is good as well. Once you get to about 10 out of 20, you get to the shop again, and you can buy another character. Now, in this case, I have 700 of these purple thingies. I don't know. I'm going to buy, let's buy Groot. And you can buy some buffs. But again, I already have these. I don't have that one. So I'm going to close it down, I guess. There's another shop at the very end, I think, before the last fight. There is a, sorry, not a Groot. There is a Mephisto. There's a Mephisto on the very last node, but there could also be Odins on here as well, which I have seen, and a bunch of Apocalypses too. You can see automatically that there's like so many bleeds. He might not, this time he might not actually die, but we're going to stun him anyways with Hitmonkey, and then there we go, and it's pretty much over. At this point, an auto basic, And we're not going to go, you know, I think that's really all I need to show you guys, because I do have 5 characters now. You want to make sure that you pick up your characters as quickly as you possibly can. And I think there's something to this. Like, I did enjoy this the first few times. It's not a terrible game mode, but I feel like there's some more changes that need to be had to this a little bit. I think they're on the right track. And that's what I came here to say, is that I don't hate it. I just feel like there's something missing. That's all. I do like the different... Please also get rid of the... I swear, some of these like show up multiple times, but like I don't think you can stack them, because I'm pretty sure I bought them before, and it just like... They should stop showing up in the game in the user interface once you have it. I will show you the health packs though, and these do not carry over from run to run, so do keep that in mind as well. And there we go. So I'm not going to complete this, right? But I just want to say that it is fun, but there's a lot of things that need to be improved. The leaderboard aspect's kind of fucked, because it's already been fucked. Because you can just run a D4 run over and over and over again and just stack 40k points at each time. And I don't want to sit here for 12 days competing for a ranked leaderboard when it's not based on your best run, right? And the reason why I know it's screwed up is because there's absolutely no reason now to go all the way to the bottom to 300, which is where you get the raid rules activated, right? 300 points. I'm not grinding 300 points to do this when I've already cleared the milestone. But again, some good thoughts, some good first tries, but I think that they need to kind of fix up a few things. I think they need to make sure that they're only counting the top run, right? There's absolutely no reason for me to run D7, 8, 9, 10 when I can just do D3, 4 a couple of times and to get the final milestone. So there is no climbing that is really all that necessary, and I wouldn't just do it for kicks. I feel that the rental characters are a bit too weak, and I feel that they need to be more appropriate, especially for players who want to play this but don't actually have their main roster upgraded. Maybe that is some way that they intended it for Krakens to have an advantage still, but it was my understanding that this was not meant to be heavily monetized, but maybe it still is, and that's where the confusion lies, at least for me. And so that's going to be the end of my video, but I would love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. How much did you play Danger Room? And just make sure that you get through that milestone 10, because those extra Armory 20 orbs will help you out in your roster. So that's it for now, and I'll see you guys on the next video.
And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.